And then I emotionally dump all over that little kid after I've helped him make the picture of what I don't want him to do, and I think it's his fault. Then there's soft language. And this is the cherry on the icing on the cake. By removing soft language, it demands ownership of whatever that I am observing, whether it's some shadow aspect of myself, or a talent, or an opportunity, or whatever. Because the truth slips out through maybes and possiblies, and maybe I'm still angry at my dad. I can think that thought for a long time and pretty much stay in that maybe-ish kind of energy. By taking the soft language out, I am the owner of that in a way, as opposed to it owning me. And just as far as my professional practice goes, I'd say minimum 98% of the time that someone's using soft language to describe something, they take the soft language out and it's the truth. Yeah. And what that comes from, one of the things that comes from is fear of having a strong position. What if I want to make sure everybody feels okay? Okay? And I said it in the seminar, same thing. If I play small to protect someone else's smallness, we both lose. Okay? So somebody's got to get on with it sooner or later.
The voice that is incessantly inside your mind doesn't bubble up. It's just there. What bubbles up is the emotions, because your inner seer wants to speak. It wants to tell the truth, but it's been trained to be covert. So you don't want to be caught. You don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to be put in a position that you're going to have to face your own emotions. So that's why it bubbles up. When I'm speaking, my heart doesn't think. It just says. Once you go to your mind, you lose your heart. And many people bring their mind into the heart space as their confusion. Then your mind and your heart are caught in the same dilemma. You do need your thoughts to plan what you're going to do. You make your plans, but once you make your plans, or you teach somebody in your business to do what they need to do, it becomes a routine. So then it's easy to turn it off. Having creative realizations and putting your energy into what you really love is more powerful than thoughts. So when you just listen to your own voice as you speak, and you don't think about it, then there's only the truth of the moment, and then you begin to learn about the truth of your moments, instead of living the scripted moment which you're trying to organize to define yourself. There was a point in our childhood where we were forced not to be silent, not to be truthful, not to be absolutely forthcoming. And once that happened, then the child starts to speak to themselves and starts to mimic the program which is given to them, instead of you know how children are. They're very straightforward, tell you what they see, and then they're punished to the point where they don't want to tell you what they're seeing anymore. So they make a promise to themselves that they just don't want to see it anymore because it's too painful. Their truth is too painful. Their heart is too painful. So then they go to the social program, and everybody's happy about being programmed, and you get forced into a very, very strange corner that you can't get out of.
If it's a mistake, then it's a mistake. If it's been done intentionally, okay, order out of chaos, let's thoroughly confuse the masses, and then we'll control them. And if somebody or a group of somebodies got together and they thought up a code, a language that would completely and utterly disempower people, confuse them to no end, and to get them to make a bunch of pictures of what they don't want, which will further pollute their energy field, and over time really trash their physical body, then they nailed it. They totally nailed it. My Ayurvedic doctor used to say that the English language, to use the way it is by the common person, is a slave language. And now I get it, because it turns us into internal prisoners. Internal prisoners. And that's the sneakiest sort, because I look like I'm free. Especially to the ego mindset that only knows that single position. Because that single position has only run one kind of code.
We have gone sick by following a path of untrammeled rationalism, male dominance, attention to the visible surface of things, practicality, bottom lineism. We have gone very, very sick. And the body politic, like any body, when it feels itself to be sick, it begins to produce antibodies or strategies for overcoming the condition of dis-ease. And the 20th century is an enormous effort at self-healing. The society is trying to cure itself by an archaic revival, by a reversion to archaic values. And when you tease apart these archaic impulses, at the very center of all these impulses is the desire to return to a world of magical empowerment of feeling. That's what the world is. The world is not an unsolved problem for scientists or sociologists. The world is a living mystery. Our birth, our death, our being in the moment, these are mysteries. They are doorways opening on to unimaginable vistas of self-exploration, empowerment, and hope.
Strongly believe that people come to states of awakening and experiences of deep communion and connection with the universe simply by engaging the energy in space around them. We, all day long, are engaging with things physically. We're touching cups, we're touching tools, we're eating food, we're engaging with people. We're speaking and vibrating their eardrums. We're listening to what they say. We're taking on ideas and moving through those ideas in our own head. We're processing our own emotions, feeling our feelings in our bodies. But we take very little time to just sense all of those things, to just witness all of those things, and allow our senses to feed us more. We quiet our minds, we just sense on our skin, we listen to the air, we taste in our mouths, we smell, and we see. And when we stop condensing those things, we stop trapping them in thoughts and names and treating them as objects that we can touch, but instead just feel what's there, then all of a sudden we gain the benefit of all of this additional information that is inside of everything. The tree suddenly shows you its patterns. The sun coming through suddenly shines into fractals and you can see rainbows in the curves between the leaves. The bark itself takes on faces and ancient wisdom structures. The rocks begin to show you patterns of mountains and ages of time. And all of that is in everything all the time. It's in every person we look at, it's in the world around us, but it's when we begin to really allow ourselves to relax into the moment and really receive what the moment has to offer, that suddenly a whole universe opens up. The whole world opens up for us to explore and discover. And it opens because we become energetically connected. We suddenly feel the radiance from the trees and let it penetrate us. We suddenly feel the tone of the rock and let it penetrate us. We allow in the energy that's flowing all around us. And through that allowing, we sense the field, and the field extends through everything.
And everything has this energetic fabric that's the universal tapestry, and all of the mystics, talk to the cosmos as much as they, talk to the stones. And the land gives us so many gifts if we slow down enough to listen. And then some people go, oh, I don't hear anything. What are you feeling inside of your body? And it gives you access to a new insight that wasn't there before. You don't have to hear the voices of the trees. Everybody accesses information in their own unique way. And some of it is claircognizant, which means you just get the download. And it feels like you. It doesn't feel like any external entity coming to talk to you, because you've already become one with that part of yourself, so you don't need the introduction in that way.
Everything you conceive of, you're connected to. It's a little bit funny to say that that's not part of you or part of me, because it is. Everybody underestimates themselves because you are part of everything. As soon as you connect your eyes to something, it begins to change on a very subtle level. It becomes you. Just because there's distance, air between us, you breathe the same air as me, your heart pumps the same blood. We are the birds that sing in the trees. We see them with our ears before we see them with our eyes. We are our environment, and our environment is us.
This whole conversation, every word that comes out of my mouth, I go home, I come back and say something out loud. See what I mean? Transpiring between you and I, we're traveling, and yet we're fully present here. There's an age-old saying in the mystery schools, I am here and I am there. It's one and the same. I'm fully present to you, and I'm also in all those altered states of consciousness simultaneously. That's ultimately the blessing of what we're capable of. And all of these different ways of invoking that connection and communication are strengthening that bridge between worlds. And so sometimes, I have star kids going, even the paint on the wall is talking to me. The molecules of light in the wall is talking to me. And they think like they're on, what is that stuff called? Acid, or, that's actually our natural state. You've just gone into what we call transcendental meditation state of your life.
You shift, so you begin to see. And when you begin to see, you realize that the construct in front of you is malleable. It's not as real as what it seems to be, because you get an overlay, and the overlay gives you information. And that's what it's all about. We're leaving ourselves so that we can become something other than ourselves. And when we realize that there's a image or images, holographic images, which have been denied us, once you see that, the information comes to you, then you've got no choice but to interpret it in the way that it's meant to be seen. There are many different ways of seeing. I see you when I feel you. I see you when I hear you speaking. I see you when I touch you. I see you when I taste the food you cook. I see you when your energy field has got something in it. I see your gestures. You observe everything with your energy field. So you don't have to look at it to observe it. Observation is done with all of our senses. When people come and visit me sometimes, I see the luminous bubble, and it's just clear like water. And if the person's intending to leave when they're coming, if they're giving me something, the bubble goes back in on itself, so it gives me the information, shows me exactly what they're going to do. This is just a very rough example. So I know the person's leaving, so I don't invite them inside, because I can see their energy bubble. But every time that I meet someone, I don't see their energy bubble, I'll see something else. So you have to learn to wait. You have to forego the idea that you're going to know. And you can't really know anything if you decide you're going to know something, because then you've scripted yourself to actually see what you want to see, instead of seeing what you're meant to see. And if you think it should be a certain way, then you'll just see the world the way it normally is. When you see it, it's different. And to do that, you have to be empty inside yourself.